Hello and welcome. Today we have a conversation about social media marketing. You know, one of the biggest challenges that so many small business owners have and content marketers have is how to keep track of all your social media marketing activity. You know, you've got your blog posts, you've got your status updates, you've got all the activity that's going on. How do you manage that activity? That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how to wrangle all your social media marketing. This is Denise Wakeman. Hello, I'm Denise Wakeman, I should say, and I am your guide and host to better visibility on the web. And today I'm going to be talking with Matthew Holden, who is the CEO and founder of MavSocial, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. MavSocial is a, what do you call it here? It is a social media digital content management and publishing tool, and we'll be telling you about that a little bit later. But Matthew is the founder and entrepreneurial driver behind MavSocial. He is the CEO and chief product guru, bringing his goal of world-class software to small and medium-sized as well as enterprise business. He's worked previously with Oracle Corporation and SAP, and he is currently based in San Francisco, and you're going to hear by his accent that is not his native land. So welcome, Matthew. I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Denise. It's great to be with you as well. And you're quite right, it is not an American accent.
So where are you from originally? Let's
fantastic place called
there.
Little place called Down Under, Sydney, Australia is home.
Okay.
And San Francisco is home for me now at the present time.
Okay, and we were talking in the green room about what a beautiful place San Francisco is, and also how beautiful Australia is, and that's someplace I haven't been yet, but I plan to. So,
well, as they say,
I hope you're enjoying California.
Absolutely, fantastic.
Okay, so we have about 30 minutes here, and let's start with the big headache and challenge of social media marketing. How you manage all that social activity, how you manage all the content. You know, it's necessary to do that, to be on so many sites now because, you know, you've got to be where your client is and where your ideal audience is. So let's start with best practices. You know, this is your business, so what do you see happening out there, and what do you recommend for best practices for managing social media activity?
Well, one of the things that, as I talk to clients, and I just love hearing what new users and customers are doing with our platform, one of the things I constantly hear from everybody is having some sort of order or structure to their content, because that's one of the biggest problems is, as you quite rightly said, everybody's hard drives are filling up, their iPhones are full of photos, they've bought photos from a stock library here, and it's over there on Joe's computer, and Susan's got it over on hers, and so forth, and then a hard drive crashes, just to add to that challenge. But the biggest thing is having a structure, and that's one of the reasons why we've positioned our product where we have, because no one is actually offering the ability to integrate content, and that content could be photos, purchased images, videos, audio files, etc. Integrating that with a social media publishing platform, and that's what we're attempting to do. So the best practice from everybody we've heard is how do we do it, and the best way we always say is by having it in a sequenced order, focusing on the formats, focusing on the actual content, and then of course tagging, which is the most important thing to be able to search and readily re-access and find your images again for reuse.
So let's talk a little bit about tagging, because I think that that's something that some people don't really understand. How do you talk about tagging, or how do you recommend using tags as an organizational tool then?
It depends upon the organizational size. I mean, our target audience that we work with are the small to medium to mid-market size companies. If you're a large, enormously global Fortune 100 company, you have a pretty regimented structure already in place. But if you're a smaller entrant and you're still doing what you have to do today, which is catch up and work in social, a lot of people don't really truly understand how that works. So our guidance to people has always been along the lines of, if you're in there and you've got some sort of structure as to what you're looking for keywords or something which is generic to your industry, your business terminologies, use those terms, because once you start to adopt that, especially with our platform, we made it in such a way that when you create a tag, it'll be obviously repeated when you actually upload another image. So you can get that repeatability. That's the only way you can start to pull in all this enormous amount of data and images that you have to be able to come up with some sort of best practice to, again, at the end of the day, you only use these tools to save time, save money, and make you more efficient. And that's one of the reasons why you've got to try and look at the appropriate tool set for you. So tagging is really key. Same as descriptions, same as titling of images or videos. All of those types of things are very important. One thing that we brought into our platform was language, because you might have something which is in Spanish or in English or a different international language. So you want to maybe search and filter by just the actual content of where it is from a geographic or from a linguistic perspective as well.
Well, yeah, and that's to the whole idea that, you know, we don't operate in a bubble, you know, just in our own local area. If you're working online, if your business is online, which everyone that I'm connected with pretty much has an online business, or they're using the web to market their business, then you may have a global audience. So, you know, even as a one-person business like I am, and like many of my people in my audience are, you know, we're solo businesses, but our clients may be in other places. So how do you look at really managing that aspect of it? So you've talked about language and using different languages if you know other languages. You know, for me, it's going to be all English all the time because I don't speak too many other languages. But how do you address the actual scheduling and marketing in other languages then?
Well, there's a couple of things there. First is, obviously, for a very vast majority of users, having the requirement for multilingual is not an overarching or an overriding priority to do things. It's a great thing to have, but if you're actually talking in two languages, and if you look at North America, there's no reason why, if you have a Spanish-speaking audience and an English-speaking audience, that you can't be simultaneously communicating your messages. And that's one of the reasons why we set our platform up in the way we did. Also, you might not actually have English as your native language. It might be an international language, and English could be a secondary. It just depends upon your market.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in, never forget, as you would talk to your people, it is sometimes hard to break out of that sphere of just thinking local. But if you're in social, you are already global. And you need to be able to be aware of that your message will be in a global audience. Whether it's got the reach and that's your target audience, and now you're touching on to international marketing dynamics and all of those types of things. I think most social marketers need to be aware of that. But there is the opportunity to be able to take advantage of that. We had one client who was a user of our platform who was in property. And they were renting, had rental properties in an international market. And as we kept sharing with them, is you just don't post once. You want to have posts, and you want to have repeat posts. You want to schedule communications, constant repeat messaging out into the marketplace in order to get traction and likes and following. And in that case, it was more of a referral type business. So the ability to be able to do that is absolutely paramount. So it comes back to that issue you talked about, tagging, being able to get the content. Secondly, know who your audience is, and then of course being able to get the message actually out there. And in that case, this client was actually getting inquiries from overseas markets, which wasn't what he was actually trying to achieve. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, he was indirectly getting the results through simply because of not really being aware that when he is talking in the social media channels, he really is talking to a global audience.
Right, right. So let's go back to the idea of, you know, organization and, you know, how you wrangle all this content that we're creating. And we know that you have a tool to do that, but if somebody is looking for a way to do this, what are some of the things that you recommend that they look for in a management tool? What should be in a management tool?
I think the key factors that they need today is the integration is happening more and more, and I still see that there is no perfect tool on the market. As much as I'd love to say MavSocial is the perfect tool for everybody, we're constantly evolving as well, and the market is also changing. So no one tool fits everybody's requirements. So I think it's a matter of to anybody who's looking at a tool set to identify what they're wanting to do and what they're wanting to achieve today, and then to be able to find the most appropriate tool set for them to not only help them today, but so that when they invest the time and the money of training, it's the opportunity cost of learning a new platform, that they'll then be able to ride with that in the fullness of time. And realistically, again, I talk to people and I say, well, you should really look at your social media internal management tools for a 4 to 6 quarter period. So in the next 12 to 18 months, what do you think is going to be happening that you're going to need to grow your business? From a features perspective, I would certainly recommend a couple of key points would be having the ability to manage all your content. Get it into one central location where you and your team can input it, upload, edit, share it, tag it, and so forth. That's number one. Two, I would probably say, again, depending upon the size of what you're looking for, you need to have the ability to schedule or plan what you're going to be doing in the future. Social has a degree of instantaneous response, but for the true marketer, to instead of reacting, being proactive, you do that by way of what we call a campaign type scheduling arrangement, where you can think of what you're going to be doing in the next week. How's that going to collaborate and work for your messaging for the next month, or whatever the case may be. And the third one is then understanding what's actually happening. That comes back to reports and analytics. So there's a number of key components, but the top three to us would be, and the guidance I give to anybody talking about this is, look at your content, have an integrated system, be able to plan your campaigns and publish accordingly, and then understand what's happening. Because there's no point doing social media marketing if it's not working and you need to change. You need to get that information to be able to do it.
You know, I think one of the challenges that I know many of my clients have, that whole idea of the plan. You know, looking beyond, what do I need to post today? You know, oh, have I shared my news blog post? I need a status update. What should I pin on Pinterest? That sort of thing, and it becomes kind of chaotic. You know, I'm kind of speaking a little bit from personal experience.
I think we all are there. We all are.
Yeah. Like, I hate to admit it. I like to think that I'm more organized, but I think that the idea of the campaign is really important, and it's changing my thinking of how I am, looking ahead, because we do, every business has something that is happening in the future. We're not just creating, a program that happens tomorrow. We don't, we know it's going to happen in 6 weeks or 6 months. So talk about the campaign feature, because, and I want to be completely open with everybody here, is that, I invited Matthew on the show because, I'm part of a beta test of this this tool, MavSocial. So, partly I'm, asking questions for myself, but also to introduce you to this tool. And one of the things that's really stood out for me is the whole campaign thing, and that opportunity to plan and look in advance of what I want to go out to my social network. So can you talk a little bit about that? How the whole campaign thing works?
A campaign to us is, the concept of a campaign is forward thinking. We have a theme, and we really don't have in a financial year, we do not have a lot of time to do our marketing. So we've got to make our messaging on target through the social media channels. It's absolutely paramount to us as business owners. So when we created the idea of a campaign, we lump everything together so that you would come up with a theme, whether it's a promotion, whether it's an event, whether it's something about your business or whatever it might be, so that you can then create all the posts in advance and schedule those posts to go at the appropriate time that's optimized for your audience. So what we do with a campaign is we create once, and there is our theme. This is what we're going to be doing for this campaign for the month of November or December, whatever the case may be. And these are all the posts that we're going to be publishing out to all the various networks. And my overarching, and I'm sure everybody in our business is always sick and tired of hearing me saying, is we save people time. And the whole concept is you create one post but publish many. And if it's a forward-looking campaign, it's create once and schedule it to be published at many times. But in this day and age, you can't just sit back and rely purely on scheduling. You still need to have that concept of adapting to a circumstance or retweeting something instantaneously. So what we call that is a quick post. And the whole concept there is that you can then quickly post something which is over and above a campaign, still related to your business. So we're still not going to lose that structure, that theme of saying for the next 2 weeks we're going to be publishing out 100 posts in this particular area. You've then got the ability to use what we call a quick post concept over and above your scheduling and your planning, because that's the only way we see, and certainly that's the feedback we have. If you rely purely on scheduling, you will get content out there.
Right.
You will not get that interaction, is what the feedback we've got. So we're making some adaptations to our product as well because of feedback what customers are telling us.
Right.
Campaigns and posting, very, very important.
Yeah, I think that's exactly, I really like that you made that point, that there's scheduling and then there's, what happens in real time that you may need to react to. And because there is no way that you can schedule replies to people. If somebody asks you a question and you need to get it out like right now because you just saw it, you've got to be able to do that. So there's two pieces of managing your social marketing. It's about the plan overall and then responding to what's happening in that plan and adapting and adjusting. And that's where the reporting comes in, right?
Absolutely. Reporting is very important because when we spoke to some of our agency clients, for example, or some of our larger brand clients, the common request is, what were all the comments that happened in Facebook in the last couple of days? So everybody in the old days would go to Facebook, they'd copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and I'm sure we've all done it, where we've sent, this is the reply we should send by email and all of these types of things. So we created a report, for example, that solved those business problems. Here are all the posts that and the replies and the comments that was said in the last 24 hours or the last whatever it is. And there's a range of business-oriented type reports that social marketers want to know answers to. We don't have the time to get into deep dive analytics. It's a skill in itself.
Yeah.
And our target sector, like you were saying earlier, Denise, single sole proprietor through to a mid-market type company with a few hundred employees, we don't have the time or the data scientists or the budgets available to really take advantage of predictive analytics. We want to know what's happened, what's the results, how do I adapt accordingly? And that's what we've done with what we call reporting, rather than having deep dive analytics built into the system.
Right. And I'm glad, again, that you brought that up, because it's like, as much as I want to take a deep dive into my reports and analytics, I don't. I want to skim it. I want to see, like, okay, is it going up? Did people comment? Did people like it? Is there anything I need to respond to?
Well, if we go back to the concept that we talked about earlier, where we have the photo library, where we've got the content library, I mean, one of the most important things I want to know, what image is working? Which image is giving us the best likes, the best sharing, the best comments attracting that? And that's one of the reports that we've come up with, so you can pull up the top 10, your top 10 images, your top 10 videos of what people are actually giving you feedback on, because as marketers, that's what we want to know. We want one page, we want the answer so we can adapt accordingly.
Right. Right. And what's working, what's not working, so you can, maybe you can adjust your campaign, because there's an ability to do that. Is that not correct?
Yes, yes. Within MavSocial, we've got that ability. I mean, there's loads and loads of features, but as a business user, you want to be able to adjust and tweak. We want to change our scheduled times. I mean, I rely a lot on scheduling myself personally, for the simple reason that we're all busy. No doubt something will happen, and then a meeting will happen, and we've got to do this, but the posts have still got to go out. And the way to build an audience is with sustained effort, not just getting there and hitting out 4 or 5 retweets. That's not a marketing concept. That's reacting, but that's not actually building a sustained marketing effort of a scheduled period. And that's what we built into the platform, because we've got a very niche market that we're looking to fill, and that's what we focus on there.
So, when it comes to actually scheduling, and this kind of combines with the language thing, do you have any tips for how to make sure that your content is seen, at the right times in the right places? Because even though, like, for example, the majority, of people who follow me are in the United States, there's still, 5 time zones in the United States if you look at Alaska and Hawaii.
Yes.
We're not just on, or 6 times, I don't know, whatever it is. But, but then there's Europe, there's, I'm looking at the Englishing world, let's say. So then there's Asia, there's South Africa, there's Australia and New Zealand. So do you have any tips for how we do that too?
I suppose really best practice and experience that I can share with you is, I always say it comes back to research. Yes, you need tools that we can provide you with and give you answers as to who's opening and who's sharing and the optimal time of day, which is what everybody refers to. It then does come back to a business decision. What do you want to aim for? Your East Coast North American market, your Central European time market, or Pacific Standard Time? That really is a business decision you and your brand have to make. But what we do have is we have a lot of clients who may be, for example, on the East Coast of the United States, but might have an office also and a separate Facebook page in Asia. So they're sharing the same content, but they want to publish at different times. So there's not much point of really publishing to a Facebook page, for example, in the middle of the night in Asia, because it'll just be completely lost in the morning. You want to try and look and do as much research as you can. Find your audience. It depends upon your business, of course, and find out what those peak opens and share times are. And we give you a lot of that information built into the platform itself, but there are also some other, through the natural networks, you can get a lot more information as well to help you make your business decisions. But at the end of the day, it comes back to what do you want to do. Right.
Right. You need to know your audience, know where they are.
Marketing 101 there, isn't it, Denise?
Exactly. And a lot of people don't take that extra effort, that I know don't do that. And yet there are tools that you can use, like, for example, Facebook's Insights offer a good starting point for that.
Correct.
And then you can take that information. I mean, this is what I would be doing, is take that information, plug that into the MavSocial network baseline, and then see what happens.
Well, what we do is we actually pull that data. Once you put your account into the MavSocial platform, you then get some of that data back. So if the networks like Facebook are giving us that information, you can get access to that through MavSocial. But if other networks are not giving us that information, you won't get it naturally enough, because it depends upon the network what they allow us to see.
Okay.
So if it's there, we will certainly be able to get it to you to get that information so you can make those decisions. But if it's not, then obviously that's a constant challenge. But it's tuning, reading your market. But at the end of the day, I think you just summed it up really well. I don't have the time to do this. That's exactly what we're looking at building this platform out to do.
Right.
Be able to help businesses at that small to medium enterprise level to be able to make themselves far more effective and get their message and their stories out there.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. Why don't you tell us more specifically about MavSocial and of the other features that we may not have covered yet? Because it is a very different kind of social media management platform. You know, a lot of people I know have used Buffer and Hootsuite and Sprout Social, any one of the other hundreds out there. But what makes MavSocial different?
Well, we've actually given up trying to count how many platforms are out there. And one of the things that I look at for 2015, and one of my predictions would be in this sector from an IT perspective, is there's going to be significant consolidation happening in the sector. And we're already seeing that with huge amounts of mergers and acquisitions happening. We've just had a very, very large announcement just last week with one of the companies being, Stitcher being acquired, which is one of the big radio type rebroadcasters for podcasters and so on. So there's going to be continual consolidation happening. What we are is we are a digital asset management and social media publishing platform basically for businesses. So what we're looking at doing is being able to help people take their messaging forward, but more importantly, be able to bring all of that information together into one unified environment where they can all get that single source of truth, as if I could use that phrase. For us to build the business, what we're also going to be looking at is bringing in other tools, because a lot of people are looking for information. They're looking for how do we get things faster, sharper, harder, and so on. But in addition to that is how do we keep up with what's happening with all the networks? That's the other challenge that a lot of people face, is that this later half of this year of 2014, there's been a number of changes and announcements from Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn has had some changes, and now we're having some consolidation happening in the businesses as well. Where we stand out is we are focusing on a very niche area, and we're bringing together basically a best of business or best of breed practices into the one platform. A lot of people have said, oh, well, you're like Buffer and Hootsuite, but on steroids, because we actually have the content asset management system built into it. So we are not digital marketers. We're not an agency in any way, shape, or form. We're just providing a very robust tool so that people can be able to do a number of things. And some of those other areas that you were referring to is the ability to have audio into our system. So we'll be able to take advantage of the new feature that's just come out from Twitter, which is Twitter Audio. We have what we call a social inbox, which is, when we designed this, we looked at this being literally like your email system, but it's for social. You literally see like an email screen, but it's all your social media comments coming in from Tumblr, Facebook, etc., and you reply and interact in the traditional type format of like an email type system. Some of the other areas is we have the ability to edit photos. So when you bring your images in, instead of having to use Photoshop or a third-party tool, you can, within the application, use an editor to add frames and effects and put type over photos and so forth. We're doing that for video very shortly. The ability to repost and reschedule so that continual posts can be sent out there to your market. There's a numerous amounts and a myriad of features, and obviously naturally I'd invite all the listeners and the viewers today to go to our website and have a look at that. But there's a deep dive type thing, and of course they're always changing as well, because the networks have to change, and when they invest in us, they're also investing in getting our expertise to help them get the best solution with all the various changes happening within the networks going forward.
Right. Well, from my perspective, because I've been using it for a few weeks now, and I love the campaign feature, and right. I'm really going to be testing that over the next few weeks, because I'm going to be traveling, and so I've created a campaign for my normal blog postings and sharing. So I'm getting things queued up from people, and so I can have stuff going out, because that's the one thing, if you want to maintain a visible presence on the web, you can't just go on vacation and stop posting,
Right.
and everybody forgets about you. So you've got to have some way of staying visible in front of your audience, right? And that's my thing, is how do you stay visible so that you're attracting the right people? So I'm going to be, I've got a campaign built for staying visible. I've got a campaign for a program that I'm offering in December. So that's getting, as I'm creating the assets, because you still have to create the assets. And when I say assets, I mean images, I mean tweets, I mean video, audio, blog posts. You still have to create that stuff. I don't want everybody to think that that's created for you automatically in the tool. You have to create it, but then you bring it all into one place. So I upload my images, and so they're stored in that. So I could conceivably not have to use Canva anymore or PicMonkey anymore, because I use a lot of my own images, because I take a lot of pictures, as many people do now with their smartphones. So I'm pulling them in from Dropbox or from my computer or Google Drive, and I can do all my editing in one place. So now you've just eliminated me having to upload it to Canva, do my Canva thing. I love Canva, so it's not anything against Canva. Then reload it into another place, and so it's like a one-stop shop. Then I can use that images in various different on different social networks. Did I say that right?
You hit it on the head. It's exactly right. When you're traveling, especially like that, you need to keep the message going and repeat sustained efforts. And even though you're traveling on vacation or whatever you might be doing, and I'm regularly traveling across the Pacific, so I'm out of action for 24 hours. You can't do that in social. You've got to keep posting. You've got to keep the content going. And some of the ways you were talking there about was original content. One of the other things that a lot of people use is the RSS feed, where you can actually bring RSS feeds, which is actually in MavSocial. So you put in your favorite RSS feeds, you bring them in, and then you can then say, I want that article, that article, that article, and I can then repost or reschedule or whatever that may be. So you're reposting and repurposing other content to your channels as well. Again, another time-saving type feature where Create once publishes all to all the various networks.
Right.
Which is critically important. And if we talk about products, there's so many great products out there. PicMonkey, Canva that you mentioned, just two of them. There's so many out there, but there's still this fragmentation across the industry. And one of our business goals is to basically have, for our niche area that we focus on, is that MavSocial becomes that centralized platform, so that it makes life far easier and far more effective for our target audience. And those types of tools are all basically embedded and built into the platform to make your traveling life much easier.
Well, I like that. I appreciate that. So here's a burning question I have. What does MavSocial mean? I mean, I know what social means, but where's the Mav come from?
We know where the word social means. The actual company who owns all of this stuff is a company called MavSocial. And MavSocial came from the word Maven, being trusted advisor, source of knowledge, and Ventus, which is for speed and efficiency. So MavSocial is the holding company. And then, of course, Mav seems to have permeated down to, I think it was someone we were speaking to, said, oh, you should Mav that, and you should Mav this. So Mav has sort of, M-A-V, Mav has sort of permeated across to everything. That MavSocial is really the platform for it. And I think in relation to, you mentioned one little earlier comment, which is around your smartphone and mobile. We do have some very exciting technologies for 2015 coming up. And I think you'll be very keen, things they like exactly like what you were describing, Denise. I'm traveling, I've got a smartphone, I've got lots of content. I think you're going to be loving what we're going to be announcing early next year as well. So that's just a little bit of a little bit of an inside scoop between us.
Okay, there's a teaser there. So it sounds like an app. I hope it's an Android app.
You never know what might be happening.
Okay, well, how can people try out MavSocial? Where should they go?
Best place, go to the website. There's right as you land on the homepage, there's a big green button saying sign up here. So just click that and enter in some quick user credentials. You'll be off and running, and that will give you a free edition. That will enable you just to have a bit of a taste and a trial, because we talk to businesses, so it's not a consumer type product. And then once you work out what edition you like as to what channels, whether you're needing to go to Tumblr, LinkedIn company pages, then you can select a subscription plan. It's a pay-as-you-go by the month. You can purchase images and get a license directly from Getty Images and Big Stock from 70 million photos as well. That just that alone is a huge cost saving. We've had some customers switch from other platforms just for that feature.
Yeah.
And then you sign up the subscription plan that you think is going to be appropriate for you. They'll either be $30 or $90 a month to see which one you want to go for.
Okay, perfect. Well, Matthew, I want to thank you for taking time out of what I know is a very busy schedule for you and sharing some of your insights about managing social marketing, telling us about MavSocial. I really appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming down the pike.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you, Denise. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you and the audience. Anything we can do, obviously reach out to us, but again, thanks for the opportunity to be with you today.
Okay. Everyone, thank you so much. Go check out MavSocial. It's MavSocial.com. You can get a free trial and test it out for yourself. I'd love to hear what you think and how it's working for you. You do need to, play with it. So I'm all about experimentation and adventure. Try it out. Have an adventure in MavSocial. Try it. Do all your experiments, because I think that you will like it. So take care. Until next time, namaste.